Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to talk about men's rights.
People have used the death of my son to go after me with it in order to hurt me.
This is his wife's son. There are a lot of addict Andrew Wilson and Pick Me Pearl Davis defenders in the comments saying things like, well, it is his child if he claimed that it's his child. Let me ask you this. If he valued his non-biological children as his own children, then why did he make his sloppy wife take that, quote, paternity test?
I have what I would consider 100% faith and trust in my wife, but I told her, I told her these words exactly. You're going to get the fucking test, and if not, I'm out the door. Period.
And it mattered so much that he was going to leave her if she did not take that, quote, paternity test. If he valued his wife's son and his wife's daughter as his biological children, then why was he so adamant about his sloppy wife taking that paternity test? He is purposely framing this as they are his kids so that he can use these kids as a deflection to criticism. And yet I'm the sick one. I'm the evil demon. I understand that step-parents sometimes will take the kid from the other marriage under their wing, but in this specific instance, this is very calculated. This is on purpose so that he can deflect criticism by claiming it's his kids.
And it seems like a reasonable argument, but as I keep telling everybody, never listen to one part of a clip. Try to find the clip. But most people don't have the time. Just like I tell Christian, don't use one quote to be right. Read their own chapter.
Yeah, I think that the rates of paternity which are lied about is wildly understated. And yeah, absolutely. I think that if mandatory paternity testing was done, there would be significant problems for women, but the kind of problems that I think they should see, which is responsibility. Forever inside of human society, men did not have this.
Right.
We'd never had the luxury of we had to always take the word of the woman as to paternity. We don't have to do that now, and we absolutely shouldn't do it now. And even if it's not mandatory, everybody should get one no matter what, always. Period.
And just
Of course. And I have I have what I would consider 100% faith and trust in my wife. But I told her, I told her these words exactly. You're going to get the test, and if not, I'm out the door. Period.
Well, also, that's not emotional abuse.
Yeah.
Well,
that's emotional abuse.
that would be considered emotional abuse.
How
Exactly.
is that 100% trust and faith? I mean, it's your prerogative to do that, but...
Okay, well,
It's not for her. It's for me.
yeah. Well, it's also
That's
there are
not
also
trustworthy.
cases where like the hospital will jumble up
trust.
babies.
No, it's not.
It's as much
100%
trust
it's
as
the
I can
antithesis
give
of
you.
trust.
It's as much trust as I can give.
Yes,
a
because
woman.
you can't confirm that. There's no
make
way for a
someone
man to
guarantee
confirm that.
something, that's not trust.
Well, where's the trust back the other way? Just being like, okay, yeah, no problem.
It's not my kid, but the fact that you find certain things normal to even hide that information from the father and you just assume what is right, as a person that's advocating for men's right, yes, I would look at you also a little, because maybe you actually believe I can do certain disingenuous thing for the good of society. And when somebody normalizes that as if they don't have a specific moral standard, I won't trust them 100% either.
This is not the first time that people have used the death of my son to go after me with it in order to hurt me, right? Say horrible things like this. I have a thick skin. But in this case, Venti brought him up to show that Rachel was somehow negligent.
The story gets more interesting when she marries her first husband, baby daddy number 2, who she has a child with that ends up passing away in a very tragic accident that in turn makes Sloppy look like an extremely irresponsible parent.
Here's what actually happened. And because this case was so fully public, you can look into all of these details yourself. What actually happened was as follows. My son went over to a neighbor's house. We lived out in the countryside. He lived down a dirt road. My son went over there to watch a movie. While they were there, one of the boys he was watching the movie with, who was a few years older than him, I think he was 13 or 14 at the time, okay, stole his parents' keys to a Bronco, put my son in the Bronco with him, okay, drove down the street, wrapped the Bronco up against a tree, and crushed my son to death. He was 10. The police showed up that night, after we had called them because we could not find him. He did not come home, and nobody at the house knew where he was at. So we called the police. The police found the wreck, and they came, and they let us know that he had died on the scene. I will never forget, ever, the horrific shriek that my wife let out.
Kid was supposed to go watch a movie. They did some gangster stuff like most kids might do, but this kid was a little more gangster. And you want to bring that up and throw it in his face because you think this guy is a fake Christian.
They arrested him, and they were going to throw the book at him. And his parents were set up on civil charges. And during his sentencing, this other boy's sentencing, everybody came up and made statements, including his grandfather, this my wife's father and grandmother and several other people, and all of them kind of got a piece of this kid. Everybody in that room was fucking enraged until my wife spoke. And what she did was she went and spoke to the judge and spoke to the prosecutor. There was no jury there. He was guilty, right? And she made a plea for mercy. What she said was, please don't turn one tragedy into two. Please don't destroy this kid's life as well. He made a horrible mistake, and we can all acknowledge he made a horrible mistake, but please don't destroy his life too. And that whole room, the whole room was in tears, including the prosecutor and the judge. They were all crying because it was just a god-awful situation. And the judge showed him leniency.
Look, he forced his wife to do a paternity for a baby that isn't his.
I told her these words exactly. You're going to get the test.
How can you call the baby from a baby daddy when he is saying son? You both disagree on how you perceive the whole situation.
Well, it is his child if he claimed that it's his child. Let me ask you this. If he valued his non-biological children as his own children, then why did he make his sloppy wife take that, quote, f***ing paternity test?
And then I find the clip. He's just a guy advocating for mandatory paternity leave. It makes no sense. I don't think he is wrong for advocating for paternity leave for every baby that is born. Not because I want the lady to be heard. I just want them to be responsible for their action, especially they are the only one that can decide the fate of a human being. What do you want? It's like nothing is right. You just want to be right. You know what I feel? Brittany, you're a freaking pick-me.
Don't get me wrong, ako sa kita bong Buta fire na mi blonde kush hash purple skunk criollo colombici jam jam turloqueta verdeta welcome